been a minute, but I'm back. Got another book review to do. You'll notice I'm not in my typical lovely studio. I'm on the road, so I'm making do. I just wanted to start off and say that I have a book coming out, a novel. It's a science fiction, sort of quirky, dark story. It's called Walnut Ridge. If you're interested in that, please head over to deadstarpress.com. You can go to their store page. They're having a sale right now through the 1st of March, actually. You can get 20% off if you use the promo code VD20. So if you like quirky, dark sci-fi, go and give it a shot. Let's get to the book review. Spiteful, Sinister, Violent by Aiden E. Messer with illustrations by Pastek. Lives up to its title in many ways. This one is not for the faint of heart by any stretch of the imagination. It has trigger warnings for torture, SA, and gore. The novella drops us into a dystopian world in which areas are ruled by tyrannical governments following the Burning Skies incident, a widespread disaster that sent humanity into a new dark age. We primarily follow two characters, Xavier, who has been arrested for the murder of a guard, a sort of state police sentry for the city of Delouse, and his best friend Sarh. Xavier is being publicly displayed and tortured leading up to his imminent public execution. Sarh does her best to accept the impending death of her friend, but eventually makes contact with a group of other discontented citizens who decide to help her free Xavier and escape to the Nef, a nearby community outside the stranglehold of the evil leaders of Delouse. This was a story of two sides for me. There was the overall narrative, which had an almost YA feel to it in terms of content and execution, and there were the depraved, hyper-violent set pieces injected here and there. I'm not always a fan of extreme content, and some instances of the gory, lurid stuff here felt a little at odds with some of the tone I got from the narrative at times. The scenarios of violent sexual depravity were creatively constructed and will turn stomachs and elicit grins from gorehounds, but at times they felt a little disconnected and pushed to the point of being almost cartoonish in their perversion, especially as it related to the characters with whom we didn't spend much time. The pacing was brisk here and kept me going. I sometimes had trouble keeping track of all the characters in this one, which is probably more a symptom of my dry-rotted brain than on the writing of Messer. He does give physical descriptions of the characters as they're introduced, so you might be able to keep them just a little straighter than I did. Some of them felt a little like fodder, and after the herd began to thin following instances of creative torture, I became more aware of who was who. The illustrations by Pastek were also helpful at times. This one, in terms of title and cover, presents itself as a dark, twisted, and licentious read, and I think it will satisfy those looking to squirm at creative depictions of torture and degradation. But the parts I connected more with were the tone and setting. There were characters here that I liked being around, and were a lot of sweet interactions here and there. I thought Messer did a great job of painting a dank and gray, post-apocalyptic world where hope is hard to come by. That, coupled with some of the expository text, had me thinking this one could make for a decent young adult story, though maybe with less fornication with lacerations. You'll have to read it to find out about that. Spiteful, Sinister, Violent is available for pre-order on Amazon right now and releases February 29th. Find out more about Aiden E. Messer at their Linktree. It's linktree/aiden.e.messer, and check out @author_aiden.e.messer on Instagram to follow him there and check out some cool book reviews. So give this one a look if you're into some like hardcore torture type stuff, but also some interesting post-apocalyptic set piece type stuff as well. Yeah, give this one a read. What'd you think, Winston? Did you like Spiteful, Sinister, Violent? Or was it too much for your little robot brain to handle?
I give Spiteful, Sinister, Violent by Aiden E. Messer 3.5 rolled up sleeves.